Christian, the time has come to open your eyes. Have you stopped to consider what's on the horizon? Between 2024 and 2030, the Antichrist's plan may be closer than you think. That feeling of fear and uncertainty has been haunting you, hasn't it? Now is the time to confront this pain and understand what's truly at stake. In this video, we will explore prophecies that reveal the signs of the times and, more importantly, how you can protect yourself and strengthen your faith during this crucial period. Together, we will uncover the truth and prepare for what's coming. Don't be lost, your salvation could be just one step away. Let's dive into the first topic. But first, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, as the upcoming videos will be a series of content designed to help strengthen your faith. With that, let's jump into the first topic. 1. Unprecedented events in the USA. Imagine the United States as a large school, where each student brings a unique story, a set of experiences, and opinions that reflect the nation's diversity. This vibrant, potential-filled environment is also a space where disagreements and conflicts frequently arise, becoming a microcosm of the broader social and political tensions affecting daily life. Recently, a former student who once held the position of class president, Donald Trump, found himself at the center of a storm. Facing serious legal challenges and ethical questions, he must justify his past actions and confront a growing discontent that looms over him like a shadow. This situation not only shakes his position but also sparks a series of heated debates among the students. These debates are not mere conversations, they have turned into ideological battles. On one side, Trump supporters view him as a defender of free speech and a fighter against a system they believe no longer represents the people's interests. On the other side, many students see him as a divisive figure, whose rhetoric and actions have fueled a culture of polarization threatening the school's cohesion. This division has intensified, reflecting the complexity of today's politics, where lines between allies and adversaries have become blurred. Meanwhile, the current school president, Joe Biden, has decided not to stand idly by. His choice to remain active and engaged in the political debate reflects his belief that the situation demands strong and steady leadership. Biden's decision not only to observe but also to participate actively in the struggle for control of the school indicates his determination to confront the challenges ahead. However, this stance also raises concerns. Students wonder whether this new competition will be beneficial or, on the contrary, further exacerbate existing divisions. As the campaigns intensify, teams within the school grow more polarized. What once were respectful debates focused on ideas have now turned into emotional clashes, where voices are raised and opinions are defended with fervor. Students divide into groups that represent not only political ideologies but also deeply rooted identities and values. Conversations in the hallways are charged with a tense atmosphere, where every word is weighed and every opinion meticulously scrutinized. A feeling of uncertainty hangs in the air, and the question echoing among the students is, how will all this end? Unprecedented events are unfolding at a rapid pace, shaping the narrative of this school in ways never seen before. Protests and demonstrations, both in support of and opposition to Trump, fill the courtyards, turning them into stages of fervent discussions. These demonstrations are not merely expressions of discontent, they reveal an urgency among many students to find a voice amidst the chaos. Social media, acting as new murals for ideas and sentiments, amplifies these voices, creating a space where the exchange of ideas is both liberating and risky. In this tumultuous environment, students face a critical dilemma. Should they continue to debate constructively, seeking a dialogue that fosters understanding, or surrender to the growing rivalry, where the competition for power could lead to a hostile and fragmented environment? What's at stake is not only the leadership of the school but the very ability to find common ground, even when opinions differ radically. The search for a leader who represents everyone becomes a collective desire. The school's story reflects the struggles and dilemmas faced by American society. As the students contemplate the future, uncertainty about what lies ahead intensifies. Will they manage to overcome their differences and build a more united community, or are they doomed to an endless cycle of disagreements and conflicts? This search for answers, for a shared purpose, becomes a thread weaving through the narrative, shaping the present and future of the school. And so, the great school of the United States continues to reflect its complexities and challenges. The students, aware of the gravity of their choices and the impact these decisions may have on their lives and those of their peers, are challenged to find a balance between the diversity of opinions and the need for unity. The outcome of this struggle will be decisive not only for the school but also for the nation's future, a reminder that in times of crisis, true strength lies in the ability to dialogue, listen, and, above all, respect each other's humanity. Imagine that, amidst this turbulence, something bigger is happening, something beyond political disputes and ideological conflicts. Many believe these events are a prelude to something sinister, a preparation for the emergence of a figure who will lead the world into a new level of disorder and manipulation. Behind the scenes, there are signs of a prophecy that, for decades, has remained latent, waiting for the moment to fully reveal itself. What if all this is just the beginning of the chaos that will pave the way for the Antichrist? This e-book is a wake-up call. Ignoring these signs could leave you and your family vulnerable in a future where freedom becomes a rare privilege. Inside, you'll find an in-depth analysis of biblical prophecies, exploring how technological control could become an unrelenting tool to fulfill these predicted events. Additionally, you will discover practical strategies to protect your freedom in an increasingly digital and monitored world, along with inspiring stories of people who have faced these challenges and fought for a better future. And now, for 24 hours, you have the chance to acquire this knowledge at an exclusive discount. Don't wait until it's too late. Open this book and prepare to unravel what could be the final chapter of humanity as we know it. Let's move to the second topic. 2. Global economic crisis and the sign of the Antichrist. The global economic crisis unfolds like a true cataclysm, prompting a deep examination of the fragility of the systems that sustain modern life. As stock markets crash and entire economies contract, anxiety spreads like a virus, affecting every segment of society. Workers who once felt secure now face daily uncertainty, with families struggling to balance bills and maintain the bare necessities for survival. Food and housing insecurity become a reality for many, widening the chasm between those who have and those who do not. In this desperate scenario, narratives emerge that connect the crisis to prophecies of apocalyptic times. The figure of the Antichrist, a personification of evil and manipulation, begins to be seen as a possible archetype for those who exploit the suffering of others. Many people start to believe that, amidst the chaos, new leaders will arise promising solutions that, in essence, only serve to deepen servitude. Political discourses transform, with leaders presenting their visions of salvation. These leaders, often charismatic, offer promises of quick recovery and security, but at the same time, they may be proposing a path of social control disguised as protection. This duality between protection and oppression becomes a central issue. What appears as a practical solution may, in fact, be a route that leads to the loss of civil liberties, where the state, or any authoritarian figure, justifies drastic measures in the name of well-being. With each passing day, tensions rise, and what is at stake becomes increasingly clear. The hopes that once fueled dreams of progress are now morphing into a battle for survival and human dignity. People find themselves torn between the need for immediate security and the pursuit of a more just future. This dichotomy becomes a battleground not only economically, but also morally and spiritually. In this context, the struggle for truth and transparency becomes crucial. Distrust in leaders and institutions grows, leading many to question the dominant narratives. Community groups, activists, and ordinary citizens begin to mobilize, seeking solutions that not only address the economic crisis but also promote social justice and equity. Activism intensifies, with voices calling for accountability, transparency, and a new type of leadership that does not exploit people's vulnerability. The figure of the Antichrist, then, transforms into a symbol of warning. It represents not only evil in its rawest form but also the dangers of conformity and apathy. History is rife with examples of societies that succumb to seductive promises, only to see their freedoms extinguished. This historical awareness becomes a powerful tool for those fighting against dehumanization. Questions about who we are and what we value become more urgent. What does it mean to be human in times of crisis? The answer to this question may shape the future of society. If compassion, solidarity, and the pursuit of justice prevail, there may be hope for a new dawn, where the lessons of the crisis are used to build a more resilient and just world. On the other hand, if society allows itself to be seduced by easy solutions, darkness may deepen, resulting in increasingly oppressive control. What is at stake goes beyond finances, it concerns the essence of humanity and the legacy we leave for future generations. The struggle for a better future is a call to action and a reflection on what it truly means to live in freedom and dignity. 3. Geopolitical conflicts and the expansion of BRICS. Imagine that the world is a vast amusement park, a vibrant and dynamic space filled with different areas, each dominated by groups of friends with their own rules and traditions. In this park, the interaction between these groups is marked by both collaborations and rivalries. Recently, some of the most intense conflicts have arisen between groups that, due to their histories and beliefs, are in constant confrontation. A clear example is the struggle between Israel and Iran, two groups that have engaged in a fierce dispute for influence, resources, and security within this shared space. This fight is not just about who can play in which part of the park, it also reflects a history of distrust and hostility that extends over decades. The atmosphere of tension between Israel and Iran is palpable. The Israelis, feeling threatened by Iran's rhetoric and actions, seek to strengthen their alliances and reinforce their security. On the other hand, Iran, viewing Israel as an obstacle to its influence in the Middle East, responds with actions that further intensify hostilities. The rivalry between these two groups resonates in other areas of the park, involving other friends who, in turn, are forced to take sides, creating an environment of polarization. Meanwhile, in a less visible corner, a new group, known as BRICS, is emerging powerfully and unitedly. Composed of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, BRICS represents a coalition of countries located in different parts of the world but sharing common economic and political interests. These countries are coming together to form a new team, seeking to create a space where they can collaborate instead of compete, challenging the established norms that have long been dominated by Western powers and their currencies, especially the dollar. The expansion of BRICS is like the arrival of a new team of players at the park, willing to redefine the rules of the game. As this alliance grows, the bold friends, who traditionally controlled the most desirable areas of the park, begin to feel threatened. Trust in the old power dynamics starts to waver, and the possibility of new rules, such as the use of alternative currencies in trade and the creation of a more multipolar economic system, raises anxiety among those who have benefited from the status quo. The atmosphere in the park becomes charged with uncertainty. Established groups begin to react, forming new alliances and strengthening their defenses. The fear of losing influence transforms into a strategic mobilization, where the leaders of these groups attempt to reaffirm their control and preserve the advantages they have enjoyed thus far. Rivalries are no longer limited to a struggle for physical space, they evolve into ideological and economic battles that reverberate throughout the park. As BRICS strengthens and attempts to expand its influence, dialogue among its members also intensifies. They discuss how to collaborate in areas such as trade, technology, and security, seeking to establish a new standard of interaction that is more inclusive and equitable. This new approach may create an alternative model that challenges existing norms, proposing a world where multiple voices and interests are heard and considered. However, this new team also faces its own challenges. The cultural, political, and economic differences among BRICS members can complicate the formation of a cohesive strategy. Decisions on how to play together may lead to misunderstandings, especially when it comes to balancing national interests with collective objectives. Therefore, while new bonds of friendship are being formed, the possibility of internal conflicts and disagreements remains, reflecting the complexity of global interaction. The amusement park thus transforms into a multifaceted space where friendships are tested and rivalries intensify. The tensions between existing groups, such as Israel and Iran, intertwine with the rise of BRICS, creating an environment where the struggle for power and influence becomes even more pronounced. As competition for resources and space continues, the question that echoes among all groups is, who will have the final say over the future of the park? Thus, the world watches closely as this new dynamic unfolds. The interaction among the groups will be decisive in shaping the rules of the global game. If the new BRICS alliances succeed in creating an environment of collaboration and mutual respect, it could lead to a more balanced and diverse park where everyone has a chance to play and prosper. On the other hand, if conflicts escalate and rivalries dominate, the park may become an increasingly hostile space, where the struggle for power eclipses the possibility of cooperation. In this context, the expansion of BRICS is not just a matter of international diplomacy, but rather a transformation of global relations. The future of the amusement park is at stake, and the decisions that the groups make in the upcoming stages will determine not only their own trajectories but also the stability and harmony of the world as a whole. Therefore, the crucial question that remains is, will the new friends manage to join forces to change the game, or will the old rivalries prevail, perpetuating a cycle of conflict and distrust? The answer to this question will shape the future of interactions in the great park that is the world. 4. Technological advances and Neuralink. Imagine a not-so-distant future where you can communicate with machines using only the power of your mind. This is the audacious vision of Neuralink, a company co-founded by Elon Musk, leading a technological revolution that feels like something straight out of a science fiction movie. Neuralink's goal is to develop an interface that connects the human brain directly to computers, allowing our thoughts to become commands. Sounds incredible, right? However, amid this advancement, concerns about control and manipulation emerge, reminiscent of warnings related to the Antichrist, who, in many traditions, symbolizes deception and domination. This groundbreaking technology promises to transform how we interact with the world. Imagine being able to accomplish tasks at the speed of thought, studying more efficiently, working quickly without needing physical devices, or even communicating more effectively with people who face speech difficulties. The possibilities are fascinating and could add a new dimension to our human experience, almost like a superpower. Yet, this transformation is not without risks. As Neuralink's potential grows, many wonder, what if this new form of communication becomes a tool for control, allowing a small group to manipulate the minds of many, evoking apocalyptic visions associated with the Antichrist? As we explore this new frontier, crucial ethical questions begin to surface. Security becomes a major concern. What happens if this technology falls into the wrong hands? Could someone manipulate our thoughts or emotions? This possibility brings us to a fundamental ethical debate: who will have access to this technology, and how will it be regulated? As Neuralink advances in its experiments and developments, it's essential that we, as a society, engage in this conversation, especially considering warnings about the rise of figures seeking absolute control, often interpreted as signs of the Antichrist. These ethical concerns are not mere speculations. They force us to reflect on the nature of privacy, free will, and the social implications of a technology that could potentially read and even influence our thoughts. As the boundaries between human and machine become increasingly blurred, the debate on how and when to use this technology becomes crucial. We cannot ignore the possibility that, if misused, this tool could facilitate mass manipulation, similar to what many prophecies associate with the Antichrist, characterized by deception and control. While Neuralink opens doors to an exciting future of mind-machine interactions, it is crucial to address the security and ethical issues that accompany this evolution. After all, with great power comes great responsibility, and it is our duty to ensure this technology is used for the common good, promoting advances that benefit everyone without compromising our autonomy and human dignity. This ethical vigilance is essential to prevent a dystopian scenario where control is absolute and individual freedoms are suppressed, a scenario that many fear could be catalyzed by influences reminiscent of the Antichrist. Therefore, as we follow this fascinating and challenging journey, it is vital to do so with wisdom and awareness. We must ensure that as we progress, discussions about ethics, privacy, and control are at the heart of technological development. Only then can we shape a future where innovation and freedom go hand in hand, preventing the promises of a new world from turning into a tyranny that echoes warnings about the Antichrist. The responsibility is in our hands. We must be vigilant and proactive, ensuring that technology serves humanity and not the other way around. In this context, it's essential to recognize that history has already shown us how seemingly benign technologies can be twisted by those who seek absolute power. Thus, the figure of the Antichrist reminds us that the pursuit of control can disguise itself under seductive promises of progress and efficiency. Therefore, the question is not only how Neuralink might change the future, but also who will ultimately have the power to shape that future. While some see technology as progress, others warn that without regulation and responsibility, we might be fostering a system that mirrors the dark prophecies surrounding the Antichrist. We must be prepared to question, criticize, and above all, actively participate in how these technologies are implemented. The possibility of a world where privacy is sacrificed in the name of security, under constant surveillance by systems that echo the control of the Antichrist, should prompt us to act. Only with open dialogue and a critical stance can we ensure that the future we're building is truly human, preventing the lessons of the past from repeating in new forms. Therefore, the need for a broad and inclusive discussion about the implications of Neuralink and other emerging technologies is more relevant than ever. As we advance, we must remain vigilant to the risks of a world that could subtly become the playground for forces that operate similarly to the Antichrist. The responsibility of shaping this future rests with each of us, ensuring that innovation is a tool for freedom and not oppression. With all this talk about Neuralink, mind control, and possible connections to prophecies about the Antichrist, we want to know your opinion. Do you think this technology brings more risks or benefits? Leave your comment below and share your concerns and reflections. We're here to discuss and help you better understand the implications of this new technological era. Let's exchange ideas together on this intriguing topic. Let's move on to topic 5. 5. Unprecedented natural disasters. In recent years, the world has been bombarded by a series of unprecedented natural disasters, reflecting the critical state of our climate and environment. These dramatic events are not merely isolated incidents, they reveal an alarming trend that is becoming part of our daily lives. Massive wildfires in Canada, for instance, have devastated vast forest areas, turning green landscapes into charred terrain. Extreme heat and prolonged droughts create the ideal conditions for these flames to spread, causing not only environmental damage but also severe impacts on public health and air quality in far-reaching regions. These wildfires have significant ripple effects. Smoke travels thousands of kilometers, reaching cities far from the fire's origin. Air quality suffers, with direct consequences for people with respiratory issues and other related health problems. Affected communities face forced displacement, while containment efforts become increasingly complex and costly. Furthermore, local wildlife suffers irreparable losses, and biodiversity is put at risk. In Europe, the situation is no different. Devastating floods have become a constant, inundating entire cities and damaging critical infrastructure. The increased intensity of rainfall, caused by global warming, transforms calm rivers into raging torrents, sweeping away everything in their path. Images of submerged streets, floating vehicles, and displaced families have become common, highlighting the fragility of cities in the face of increasingly uncontrollable natural forces. Recovery from such disasters is slow and costly, demanding significant resources and a collective effort that often exceeds local capacities. Extreme heat has also become a hallmark of our time, with temperature records alarmingly broken each summer. This heat not only affects people's comfort and health but also jeopardizes agriculture and food security. Water stress results in failed harvests, which in turn drive up prices, directly impacting millions of people's lives. Farmers, often on the front lines of climate change, face immense challenges to adapt their practices in a rapidly changing climate, putting global food security at risk. More intense and frequent hurricanes are another facet of this devastating scenario. Rising ocean temperatures, a consequence of global warming, intensify these natural phenomena, resulting in more powerful storms that bring destructive winds and torrential rains. Coastal communities are increasingly vulnerable, facing not only immediate destruction but also the need to adapt to a new normal, where recovery after each event becomes progressively harder and more complex. Reconstruction is often not just a matter of repair, but of rethinking how we can live in harmony with nature and the new climate realities. These disasters are an urgent call to action. They show us that the climate crisis is not a distant possibility but a reality we are already facing. The responsibility to act falls on all of us, individuals, governments, and businesses. We urgently need to implement solutions that address not only the symptoms but also the causes of the climate crisis. This includes drastically reducing greenhouse gas emissions, transitioning to renewable energy sources, and promoting sustainable development practices. Public awareness is essential. People need to understand the gravity of the situation and mobilize to demand meaningful change. Environmental education should be a priority, empowering communities to become agents of change and adopt more sustainable lifestyles. Local initiatives, such as reducing plastic use, promoting sustainable transportation, and preserving ecosystems, are essential to building a more resilient future. Moreover, it is imperative for governments and international organizations to collaborate to create policies that not only respond to disasters but also prevent their occurrence. This involves investing in resilient infrastructure, effective emergency plans, and the protection of natural ecosystems, which play a crucial role in mitigating the effects of climate change. As we face these challenges, it is vital to remember that every action counts. The fight against the climate crisis is a collective responsibility that requires continuous and concerted effort. Only then can we begin to reverse the damage, protect our planet, and ensure a safer, more sustainable future for all forms of life. The time to act is now, and change begins with each of us. 6. Spiritual crisis and reflection on the soul. Once upon a time, there was a world in constant motion, where the daily rush had become a stifling routine. People found themselves trapped in an endless cycle of work, commitments, and responsibilities, often without time to reflect on their own lives. Amid this tumultuous scenario, a profound feeling of disorientation began to emerge. Many people felt lost, as if they were navigating stormy seas without a safe harbor to anchor their hopes and dreams. In the midst of this whirlwind, existential questions started to echo in many minds. What is the meaning of life? What truly matters? This search for answers became a catalyst for deeper reflection on spirituality and the purpose of existence. People began to pause and look inward, trying to understand not only their everyday lives but also the broader questions surrounding the human condition. This journey of self-discovery led many to explore different spiritual paths. Some turned to ancient religious traditions, seeking wisdom in sacred texts and rituals that connected them to something greater than themselves. Others embraced more contemporary philosophies, such as mindfulness and meditation, aiming to cultivate a state of presence that could help them find inner peace amidst the chaos. This quest for meaning and understanding resembled a search for light in the midst of darkness. People began sharing their experiences and reflections, creating spaces for dialogue and mutual support. The simple act of discussing spirituality and life's uncertainties brought a sense of community, where individuals could express their vulnerabilities and support each other. This exchange of ideas and feelings strengthened social bonds, providing a sense of belonging and understanding that many had been longing for. As more people joined this journey of spiritual exploration, curiosity grew. Questions about the soul, life after death, and the purpose of our existence became frequent topics of discussion. What happens when we die? Is there a greater meaning behind the challenges we face? These profound questions not only sparked philosophical debates but also revived interest in spiritual practices and rituals that had often been set aside in the hustle of daily life. Moreover, this spiritual crisis highlighted the need to care for mental and emotional health. People began to recognize that the search for external answers should be accompanied by an inner journey of healing and self-understanding. Therapies, support groups, and self-care practices became essential for many, as understanding the soul was intrinsically linked to overall well-being. The intersection between spirituality and mental health proved to be fertile ground for personal transformation. Practices like meditation, yoga, and other forms of self-discovery were not only ways to relieve stress but also became valuable tools for spiritual growth. This expanded awareness of the importance of nurturing the soul inspired many to seek a balance between their practical lives and their spiritual needs. Thus, as the spiritual crisis unfolded, a collective movement of reflection and search for meaning began to take shape. This journey not only enriched the individual lives of many but also helped cultivate a new perspective on community life. Stories of personal challenges and spiritual discoveries became sources of inspiration and hope, showing that even in difficult times, there is always room for light and transformation. In this new context, the spiritual crisis turned into an opportunity for growth and connection, where questions that once caused distress were now seen as open doors to new possibilities. This quest for understanding and connection transcended differences, fostering an enriching dialogue that reaffirmed the essence of humanity, the need to belong, love, and seek the truth. In short, the spiritual crisis that many faced was an invitation to reflection and transformation. As people turned inward in search of answers, they discovered not only the value of their own souls but also the importance of connecting with others on a shared journey. This new era of spiritual awareness reminds us that even in the most challenging times, the search for meaning and connection can lead us to a place of hope, healing, and, above all, community. If you enjoyed this reflection and believe it could help others, please leave a like. This helps YouTube deliver our content to more people, strengthening our community and allowing us to continue bringing deep and transformative topics. Every interaction counts, and your support is essential to keep these meaningful conversations alive. Now, let's move to the seventh topic. 7. End Times and Biblical Prophecies. In today's world, a growing number of people are beginning to interpret the events shaping our reality, such as natural disasters, geopolitical conflicts, and social crises, as signs of the last days, as foretold in various biblical prophecies. This perception has fostered an atmosphere of unease and profound reflection, compelling many to prepare spiritually for what they believe are critical times. Within this context, the figure of the Antichrist emerges as a powerful symbol of deception and defiance against truth, resonating amid widespread uncertainty. In many religious traditions, the Antichrist is viewed as a force opposing good, symbolizing the corruption of truth and the manipulation of faith. In an era of increasing polarization and mistrust, some feel we are living through a prelude to his arrival, a challenge manifesting not only through external forces but also in internal battles of discernment and integrity. This perception ignites urgency in many, who seek to strengthen their beliefs and values, striving to recognize signs of deception and shield themselves from influences that might lead them away from their spirituality. Amid this atmosphere of uncertainty, various religions encourage followers to reevaluate their lives and reconnect with what they hold sacred. This movement is not just a search for comfort but a call to action and collective awareness. Many people turn to spiritual practices that help them find meaning and security amid chaos. Meditations, prayers, and communal rituals become essential for cultivating a deeper connection with the divine and with one's own essence. Reflections on the Antichrist and his representation of deception become central points in discussions on spirituality. People ponder how they can discern truth in a world filled with misinformation and manipulation. This quest for discernment initiates a journey of self-awareness, inviting each person to confront their own beliefs and values. The figure of the Antichrist, therefore, symbolizes not only an external threat but also the complex internal struggles everyone faces in striving to live according to their truth. As more people unite on this spiritual journey, a renewed sense of community arises. Support groups, prayer circles, and Bible studies begin to flourish, allowing individuals to share their experiences and uncertainties. This exchange of ideas not only strengthens social bonds but also fosters a sense of belonging in an age of isolation. Together, they find hope and courage to face the future, creating a safe space for dialogue about the common challenges they face. Spiritual preparation takes on new meaning in this context. Many people begin to seek religious teachings that speak about vigilance and discernment, recognizing the need to be attentive to the messages and influences surrounding them. The Antichrist becomes a relevant theme in discussions on faith and morality, prompting a deeper examination of how one can protect themselves from forces that seek to divide and dehumanize society. This spiritual vigilance is not just a form of defense but an active pursuit of a life more aligned with values of love, compassion, and truth. Moreover, this spiritual crisis promotes a growing awareness of the need for social and moral action. Many feel compelled to join efforts in initiatives that promote peace, justice, and solidarity. This desire to combat injustices and strengthen the community becomes a response not only to adversity but as a form of resistance against the dehumanization represented by the Antichrist. This unity around shared values helps create a support network that nurtures both spiritual and social well-being. As we navigate this challenging global landscape, biblical prophecies and the figure of the Antichrist serve as powerful reminders that the struggle between good and evil is an intrinsic part of the human experience. Awareness of the dangers of deception and manipulation invites us to renew our commitment to truth, integrity, and solidarity. This moment of spiritual reflection and transformation not only helps us confront present challenges but also prepares us for a future where light and truth may prevail over shadows of mistrust and division. In short, the times we live in are perceived by many as an urgent call for reflection and spiritual transformation. As prophecies are reinterpreted in light of today's reality, we are invited to reevaluate our priorities and commit to values that promote peace and solidarity. This search for meaning and connection transforms into a collective movement where spirituality and social action intertwine, creating a space where hope and light can triumph over deception and division. 8. Consolidation of power and surveillance. Today, we are witnessing a radical shift in how we handle money and how our activities are monitored. Traditional banks, which have long been the pillars of the financial system, are significantly declining in number. As new technologies emerge, such as digital currencies and advanced surveillance systems, a new era of control and monitoring unfolds, raising profound questions about freedom and privacy. Digital currencies like Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies appear as promising alternatives to conventional banking. They offer the potential for fast, secure transactions without intermediaries, democratizing financial access and reducing costs. However, this innovation also raises concerns about power concentration in the hands of a few. Platforms dominating the cryptocurrency market can drastically influence the global economy, creating new power dynamics absent in traditional financial systems. This digital centralization contrasts with cryptocurrency's promise of decentralization, leading to a paradox where financial freedom may be compromised by emerging control structures. At the same time, surveillance has become an omnipresent feature of our lives. Monitoring systems, including security cameras and facial recognition technology, are spreading rapidly across cities and public spaces. This surveillance infrastructure is often justified by the need for safety and crime prevention, yet it also creates an environment where people feel constantly observed. The idea that every movement and social interaction can be tracked raises profound ethical questions about what this means for our daily lives. These changes prompt critical questions. How does this affect our freedom? Are we trading our privacy for security? As monitoring technologies grow more sophisticated, many worry about the implications for individual autonomy. In a world where every choice may be analyzed and interpreted, the line between security and control blurs. People start to fear that their actions, habits, and even opinions are shaped by a system that watches, and, in many cases, judges, them. The discussion around power consolidation and surveillance is essential to ensuring that, even with technological innovations, individual rights and privacy are preserved. This conversation involves analyzing public policies, regulations, and the responsibilities of companies that develop and implement these technologies. Balancing the use of surveillance tools to ensure public safety with protecting civil rights is crucial. The debate over transparency and consent becomes central, requiring society to determine how far it is willing to go in the name of security. Moreover, social movements and activists are beginning to organize in defense of privacy and individual freedom. Initiatives promoting responsible technology use and the protection of personal data are becoming increasingly important. People are joining forces to demand greater transparency regarding how their information is collected and used, as well as to challenge practices they consider invasive or disproportionate. This fight for privacy and freedom in an increasingly digital world reflects a quest for balance between innovation and human rights. As we navigate this era of surveillance, the ability to question, criticize, and demand accountability becomes a vital element in building a society that values both security and freedom. The future, therefore, will depend on how we navigate these complex interactions between technology, power, and the protection of fundamental rights for each individual. In summary, power consolidation and surveillance are not merely technological trends, they are social issues that require critical analysis and a collective response. While innovations promise efficiency and security, they also challenge us to preserve privacy and human dignity. The debate surrounding these issues is essential to ensuring that future generations inherit a world where freedom and security coexist harmoniously, without one sacrificing the other. Well, we've reached the end of the video, but before you go, I've linked a related video above that I'm sure will further help you with any challenges you may be facing. Thank you for watching until the end, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel to keep receiving content. See you in the next video.